Hey guys, good afternoon, everybody. Hey Bird, how are you? Let me go in here and see if folks that's on the Facebook side, so I can say hello to everyone on Facebook. Let me go to Facebook side. Hold on, guys. Just bear with me a second. Let me go to Facebook so I can say hello to the people on Facebook. Hey guys, on the welcome. Facebook side, so I can say hello to. Welcome to everyone. Hey Terry. Hey Nakia. Hi, Facebook family on the other side. How you guys doing? Just came on. I won't be on. Hey, Rhoda. Won't be on too long. Rhoda, you on both sides, huh? No, I see you on one side. Um, I won't be long. I just want to give you guys some updates of some things that's happening this week. Just to keep you guys abreast of our main topic, our main purpose, our fight. I had to see my cup. It says, let your voice be heard. I'm going to use that. That's going to be my motto. My motto is let your voice be heard. Throughout all this injustice that's happening right now to people of color, brown, black, yellow, people who do not have a voice. So we're going to try to be that voice and also trying to maximize our efforts, not doing things just haphazardly, but having a laser focused purpose. Hey, woman of God. Hey, Terry. Hey, Leo, lovable Leo. Hey, Shay. How are you guys doing today? But just being laser focused. Hey, Nikenya, Anita. I'm not going to be long. I'm absolutely not going to be long today. Hey, Lavelle. Hey, Clayton. Clayton, I saw your review today. Um, so just having a laser, hey Olga, just trying to say hi to people in the chat. Just having a laser focus of what our purpose here, what is for, what we're doing. I'm going to give you a rundown of what's happening this week in on this channel. Um, on Tuesday, I will have an attorney who I've been trying to have her since last year. We finally got the date secure for Tuesday at 7 p.m. She will be on my live Tuesday at 7 p.m. I'm not going to give you her name as of yet because I want it to be a surprise. She has been, she has her own law firm. She's been in practice for 11 years, having her own practice. She has never lost a case, never. Every case she's ever had, she has never lost it. So that gives you pretty good feeling about her background. Um, she has 5 books that she has written. She started off her own little, not little, her own. She's gonna be the hood of the courtroom. She has a very strong personality. She tells you like it is. She's no joke. But we're gonna have her as our special guest on Tuesday at 7 p.m. here on the infamous Sylvia YouTube channel. Don't forget on January 20th, Robert has a hearing um, in the state case of Illinois. Yeah, it's Judge Judy. No, it's not Judge Judy Clayton. Um, Judge Judy is retired now. She's no longer a judge on the bench anymore. But Robert has a hearing on January 20th. Also, remember his birthday is on Friday, January the 8th. There are some happenings in Chicago. I was trying to get some information for those who are in Chicago, what is happening for him. Um, as far as the events, and I wanted to share it with you guys. I'll get that information from while we're on this show today, while we're live. Hopefully, someone will respond to me, and then I can give you guys the information. Um, but I'm glad you guys are here. Just wanted to. Hey, Rhoda, you're in this room now. You're in this chat. But this is what we're doing. As you guys remember, yesterday I was listening to the case of Mr. Hinton, who spent 30 years on death row for a crime he did not commit. And because of his faith and his steadfast belief in what God said to him, he was able to be exonerated from all charges from the state. He was set up, um, and he was the whole cases were put on him, and one of the reasons because the racism that he faced in the state of Alabama, and to this day, the state of Alabama has not given him an apology for what they did to him. So we did listen to some of it, and I was going to continue with the rest of the book. His book is called The Sunshine. Hold on a second, I'll tell you the name of the book. I will tell you the name of the book. The name of the book is, let's see, hold on. Name of the book, The Sun Shine. The Sun Shine Does Shine. The Sun Does Shine. And it says, How I Found Life and Freedom on Death Row by Anthony Ray Hinton. Also written with Laura Love Harding. And this guy basically talks about how, the justice system was not just to him, but because his belief and his trust in God, God worked miracles. I mean, it took 30 years, 30 long years. He stayed in a 5-by-7 cell, a big guy. He talked about how he laid on that hard mattress and how he did not see any sunlight, and how, being in solitary confinement, not talking to anybody for years. He built a friendship with a guy next door to him who was a KKK member. And the guy next door to him that was in the cell, he was eventually executed, but the guy talked about how all his life he was taught to hate, and that in the end of his life, the people he was taught to hate is the people who showed him what real love is all about. Um, the book is very, very interesting. It teaches you a lot of different things from different aspects of life. The reason why I started reading is this book because it kind of put me in the place of where Robert is, how he is being accused of something, that how people are setting it all up and moving the dial and doing everything, and the way they have it set is for him to be railroaded. So that's the way I took the book, and that's the reason why I am reading the book. A lot of people may say, "Oh, that's not Robert's situation," but it's kind of like Robert's situation because he is a black man, even though he has a status of being a superstar. They're treating him just as a plain old N word, you know, um, and just different people being set up, being part of the setup behind the scene, and they making you look at it to seem one way, but in actuality is something different. There's people in his camp who is part of the setup, and there are people who he was a political prisoner at one point. Now that the election is over, this person got her position. There are still people that are working behind the scene to cause so much wreak havoc in his life. You have so many players in this case, and I really don't care what anybody think. of what my opinion is. It's my opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinion. And my opinion does not represent everybody that's in this chat. But I'm going to tell you based on what um, research I've done, on what I have witnessed by reading, by dissecting, and plain old having common sense, that some of these people who are part of the whole setup should be charged. If he is charged and he's being considered as an enterprise and all this extra stuff, why is it he the only person that is behind bars? The parents needs to be behind bars. The people that work with him who orchestrated, who was played a part of it, if they claiming that he did this, right? They should be held responsible as well, not just him, because him being an artist who performed, who was on tour, how in the world was he able to do all that on his own? Hold people hostage, as well as performing every day and making big hits, working with different artists. And then people not using their common sense, because when they did wellness checks, which they did several of them in Georgia, when they when he moved out of different places, like out of the studio, out of the two homes in Georgia, they searched the place and there was no dungeon. There was no buckets that somebody urinated in. Because you guys remember the case where Amanda, what was her last name? Amanda Smart. What was, I don't remember her name. Where she was locked up in the state of Ohio, and at the end they went when they went inside the house, they saw that that guy who kept them had them chained. They saw the chain and all that kind of stuff inside the household. But they didn't find any of that in Robert's case. So tell me, where is the black room? Where is the bucket that you urinated and you defecated in? Where is the chain? Where's all the things that you called that he did? Where's the locks on the door? Because when they went to the home, there was no lock on the doors. So people would have to use their common sense in this case. You know, you have to use your common sense. Can't go by what the television drama shows, you know. They were never vetted. They were never given any kind of polygraph test, you know, polygraph test. So I'm not gonna go with the shenanigan. I'm not gonna listen to that stuff, you know. Yeah, yeah. There's so much injustice, and you know what it is? It's a black man standing up for his rights for his music, his right for what they owe him. And I was told that if he decided to not fight for his music and all that, everything would be dropped. Why should he drop? Why should he give up his stuff that he worked hard for? Why? You're right. Make it make sense. Absolutely. Make it make sense. Miss Ladybug, you're absolutely make it make sense. But people are making all these, you know, let me tell you something, guys. There are people who have been victimized. There are people who have been in relationships that were not good for them. There have been people who have been part of domestic violence, right? Hey, hello, Cole, how are you? There are people who have been part of those type of relationship, right? And I'm not saying everybody reacts to trauma the same way. I am not saying that at all. Hey, sassy. I'm not saying everybody reacts to trauma the same way. That is not what I'm saying. I am saying that if you notice that these people who claiming to be his victim, every single one of them have some sort of financial gain from this. You know, um, we talked about the other day. We talked about a lot of people say, okay, he married Aaliyah. Okay, this is what that's the argument. That's the main argument they keep bringing about. He marries Aaliyah. He's with this 15-year-old. He was 27-year-old, and he married this 15-year-old. Okay, now throughout throughout all you guys, Elizabeth Smart. No, that wasn't. No, I'm talking about Amanda, not Elizabeth. Elizabeth was the one that stayed with that older man. No, Amanda is one with the guy who had three of the girls. It was Amanda. Nikki, it was Amanda. I'm sorry. I gotta go back to what I was talking about. Um, they keep mentioning Aaliyah, right? They keep mentioning, well, he married Aaliyah. Okay. If you could recall, majority of interviews you have seen or heard, Castro, yes, that was the name of the guy, Castro, yeah. Um, you have heard that her parents was around throughout her whole career, even when the music, when Robert was making the music with her. You heard her mother even talked about it. Even she even said that she was with them all the time. She did not participate in the Lifetime docuseries, and she was adamant about what she heard, what she saw when she was there, right? She was an active parent. Hey, Luna, an active parent in the um, artistry or um, she was basically active in her daughter's pursuit of her dream of becoming an artist, right? She was there. She was to the audition. She was everywhere. There was someone in her family, adults that participated wherever she was at, right? Now, if this so-called relationship developed, this relationship had to develop with the approval and the knowing of her guardian, whether it was her uncle, whether it was her father, her mother. There was someone that was an adult throughout the whole process when he was working with her in the music. This is what I have researched and I've seen and I know. Okay, even the manager, Demetrius Smith, talks about when they went to the um, the house of the Hortons. That's the last name, Horton. He talked about how the mother was there. They played music, blah 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 blah. Okay, now as a parent, it is your responsibility. You are the steward of your child's welfare. Okay, if something happens to your child in your household and you say nothing about that particular thing happening in your household, you condone it. I know it's a hard pill to swallow. I know some people want to discredit me. Some people want to get upset with what I'm saying. But the facts are, as parents, we are responsible for the well-being of your child. Can you hear me? You are responsible for the well-being of your child. Meaning, if you have an idea or inkling of something that's not proper happening to your child, you should be the first one to set the alarm off and say, hey, or get the authorities involved, say, this is what I believe is happening. Check this out. Hear what I'm saying? All right. So if the parents said nothing throughout the whole time the music of being the album is being produced, said absolutely nothing, the government cannot come into that domain and represent the child who is supposedly deceased now. Remember, she's deceased. How in the world are you, as the government, coming to fight a case for someone who's deceased? The only time I know that you can come in to fight a case is if somebody has been murdered by that person. Then you can fight the case. But remember, this supposedly happened in 1994. She passed away in 2001. So that's what, 7 years or 6 years of you guys not saying anything? There was a case in 2008. During that case, did you say anything during that? Did you guys bring that into the case? Why not? Because remember, the IDs was purchased in 1994, 93. The IDs were purchased, right? It was on the news. They talked about it. I remember in August of 1994, I started hearing about it. 2001, he was charged. 2002, he went to started the case, and then it's been postponed for about 6 years. And then finally, the case came about 2008, right? 2008. Why did you, government, not say anything during 2008? Why now? Why are you bringing this case, putting this case onto, this is his situation with Aaliyah, into this case? Now, all of a sudden, he supposedly bribed a worker. Why isn't the worker being charged of taking bribery? Because I know if I'm doing something wrong at my job and doing some crooked thing, my job should be pressing charges on me. Right? There's supposed to be some sort of lawsuit from the parents against the government for giving my daughter or my child a fake ID. There's supposed to be some sort of lawsuit. All these people doing these things. Me as a parent, I need to be in there fighting everybody for my child because I'm supposed to be representing her in a situation. Okay? Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Do you understand why did the ball drop way back then, and now you're adding the ball and putting it to this case? You can't tell me that this was not spoken of back in 2008. You can't say it didn't happen in 1994, which you guys are claiming it happened. Why was it not brought up in that case? Why wasn't there a police report of this man marrying my child? Or why? Why? Because that's the argument every single body that is against Robert Sylvester Kelly comes up and tell me. Well, he married a 15-year-old. Guys, how many people, how many entertainers have married children? How many? How many have been in relationship with those who are underage? Robert's not the first one. I'm going by what you guys are saying, okay? This is you guys, that's the argument you want to use. So I'm going to be a devil's advocate and entertain that statement. Okay, I'm going to entertain that statement with you guys. You said that he married a child. Look at him. He's been up blank, 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 blank all these years. Blank, blank, blank. I had an argument with a police officer when I started researching this. This police officer is a friend of mine in Chicago. And I said to him, he come bringing this mess up to me about, oh, well, he married Aaliyah. I said, well, you was a police officer during then, weren't you? He's like, yeah. I said, then why didn't you do anything? Oh, the power that be kept protecting him. Oh, really? How? I found out that he was given to the police department, given some financial backing. So you guys threw away your common sense and your swearing, because I know police officers swear in. They're supposed to uphold um their duties as police officers, supposed to protect and serve the community, right? So you decide to not do certain things because you're getting some financial backing. So it's about the money then, huh? Is it about the money? So everything comes out now because you guys are not getting any money? I'm just asking. I'm asking for a friend. That's what I'm doing. I'm asking for a friend. So, because I'm just going by what he said, the police officer. I'm going by what he said. Oh, all this been going on. I remember when this is a police officer. I'm not gonna give you his name, but this police officer said he was working some sort of kiddie club, and he was the bouncer for the kiddie club, and he saw his car coming around by the kiddie club, and the girls would jump inside the car. This is the lies I've been hearing. The girls were jumping inside the cars, and they came back, had money, blah 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 blah. And I said, you police officer, you saw this going on, but you decide to turn a blind eye. That was my question to him. If you saw a crime being committed and you're an officer of the law, you in your full duty outfit, and you're supposed to be like, the person that abide and protect and do that for the law. But meanwhile, you said you saw him come and drive by the club, and girls get in the car, and you let it still happen. You let it still happen. But you, the officer of the law, who's supposed to be enforcing the law, right? You're enforcement in the law. So you decide to close your eyes and not act like you don't see it. Now, all of a sudden, this case is coming about. Now, all of a sudden, you have a memory. It came back. You remember all of this, right? Okay. I'm sorry. This is all set up to me. I don't care what nobody said. And I'm going to move over to modern day, what's happening now. Okay. You have a woman. You have three women, four women. You have Asante McGee. You have Kitty Jones. You have not gonna mention the other two names. No, I'm gonna mention it. You have Cheryl Mack, and you have Diana Copeland, right? You have all of these. Okay, let's talk about Cheryl for a minute, guys. Okay, Cheryl, she was supposedly his assistant for X amount of years. Those who don't know who I'm talking about, her name is Cheryl Mack. Cheryl Mack is the mother of London on the Track. If you guys are not familiar with him, he produces beats and things like that. That is her child. Okay, I think that's her only child, if I'm not mistaken. She began working for Robert in the early 2000s. I can get you exact date, but I'm just going to give you my recollection of what I know. Okay. All right. Cheryl, from what I've read, from her little statement, she has always had some animosity towards Mr. Kelly because she felt Mr. Kelly was slighting her. She wasn't getting the money that she is due. She would bring up different artists to Mr. Kelly, and he would basically knock it down. Or she felt that he was going behind her back and doing like music with the person, even though she's the one who brought the person to him. So now she's pissed with him because she is not getting what she feels she deserves. Same thing with Mr. Demetrius. Okay. Now you have Miss Kitty Jones. Miss Kitty Jones fell in love with Mr. Kelly. She sold all her belongings, left her state of Texas, moved to Chicago thinking that, hey, I have a relationship going on and I am in love. I am the woman. I want to be in his world. So I'm going to give up everything in my life to be with this man. But when she moved to Chicago, she didn't do her homework. She did. If she would have did her homework, she would have realized that this is a single man who is enjoying his freedom of being single. Remember, he was in a marriage and he filed for divorce and divorced his ex, right? So he's free. He can have as many women as he wants. But this young lady wanted to be the one number one. But then when she gets here, she realized, there's several women that I have to compete with. He's not treating me as a special one. I'm treated like a stepkid. Okay? I'm just giving you my little story about what I saw, what I see, what I heard, what I'm reading. I'm interpreting because, sometimes when you're reading something, you could see it in your own mind. You try to understand it, right? So Miss Kitty Jones, throughout her whole relationship, her friends that she's talking to, she told her friends how much she's in love with him, she wants him, and blah, 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 blah. Then all of a sudden, when surviving R. Kelly comes out to tell her, we want to hear your story, all of a sudden, she has been beat up. He kicked her while the story is he kicked her and slapped her. How do you kick somebody on the ground and you're slapping at the same time? Are you bending over and doing a slapping and kicking and slapping and kicking? I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm trying to picture it, but I don't understand. But she's on that hate train. And I think it's more because she's a scorned woman. Yeah, she's a scorned woman. She's mad. She's big mad. Just like all the other ones. All the other ones are big mad because this man, and I'm not saying that I'm condoning his action on how he feels. But remember, y'all, when you're in a relationship, you can't move on to the next relationship until you do a soul searching, self-searching on your own, right? And maybe Mr. Kelly had not done that. A lot of men move on to the next relationship without fixing themselves first. Sometimes you have to take a break, get to know who you are, then you could move into a relationship with the next person. Also, you're going to carry that same baggage to the next relationship, to the next relationship, the next relationship, right? I'm not a person to give you moral compass of what a person should do, how they should do it. I'm not that. But I'm just giving you guys what real life is all about. Not the fake stuff that they're putting on television and making you think. They're trying to brain F you. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to brain, so they're trying to screw with your mind. Trying to put a narrative in your head so you can picture it. But no, as a Black woman, as a woman, we have emotions when we're in love with someone. We think of them as being the worst person when they dump us, right? When you get dumped, he's the worst person in the world. Now, when you're with him, he's better than sliced bread. He's the most awesome man ever. But now you got dumped. You're scorned. You're hurt. You're going to jump in that bandwagon of whoever coming to come after him. You're going to go in there. He did this to me. He did that to me. But meanwhile, he was the best man that you could ever have. Hey, Bryn. He was the best man you could ever have before, right? But now, because you have this hatred, because you've been rejected, and rejection does not feel good. It doesn't feel good to not be in the position that you was in before. He just got rid of you, and you don't know why. Because he moved on to the next best thing, right? And that next best thing, I think, was Holly. Because Holly is the only one that I remember during that time that he brought out to the public. He was in the public's eye with Holly. Guys, these earring came from Brenda, and this is, you remember her? She was my guest a couple of weeks ago. Heart Expression with the baby doll. She did these earrings in my mask. I have to plug her in with my commercial. Anyone interested? But she did these earrings for me, and let me see. Got to plug my commercial in. Hold on, because I see her in the chat. And then she did my mask. Look at my mask. Bam. Okay. So that was commercial break. And she also did my mug too. Let your voice be heard. So we got to let our voice be heard. But anyway, I was talking about Miss Kitty. Right? We're talking about Miss Kitty. All right, Miss Kitty's gone. She's hurt. She's jacked up. Cheryl's pissed because she was the one bringing artists, and now all of a sudden, this dude did not pay me what I am worth, what I brought to him. Blah 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 blah. That's Cheryl. That's okay. Have you noticed every single one of these people have something in common? What I see is in common that they all have some sort of art against him, some sort of unresolved issue, whether it's relationship, whether it's a business arrangement. It seems like every single last one of them. Every single last one of them have a motive. A motive. A motive. In any kind of criminal case, you always have to find what the motive is. And the foundation of all of this comes about with the what? Cha-ching, the dollar, the money. What they say, follow the money or follow the lack of money. I'm very disappointed with the government. I'm very disappointed with this whole case. You know why? Because I feel the government has been bamboozled, taken for a ride in this. They were so hungry, searching for him for so many years, can't find anything, and all of a sudden, all these people come about. And all these people have some sort of connection, y'all. We're going to play Connect the Dots. We're going to play Connect the Dots. I know everybody says Sony's behind this. Yeah. We know the big dog is behind it. We know that. But Sony had to use people that are close to him, because the people that are close to him is the worst enemies that you can have, because they know everything about you. Your closest friends are the ones that's going to really put real damage in their life. They're the one know how you sleep, when you wake up, how you eat, what time of day you eat, where you're going, what you like, what you hate. They know everything about you. So they utilize individual who knows him best, who rock with him, who could be persuaded by what? Money. They can be persuaded by that, the dollar bill. When I was speaking to someone, I've spoken to a lot of different people, y'all. You know Sylvia. Sylvia speaks to a lot of different people. Because you know what Sylvia do? Sylvia's trying to get down to the nitty gritty of this. Hold on, guys. I got a call. Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. That was Dallas asking me what I want to eat. But I was talking about the money, the money, the main culprit behind some of these people that are um persuaded or that was planted. There are some few people that's been planted because they don't like Mr. Kelly's way of doing things. Some of them wants to be Mr. Kelly. Some of them are jealous of his position and they wish they could be in his position, right? You have so many people from different angles. They claim they're doing it for those who are victimized. That is what they're saying. They started different operation because they want to help women, men who have been victimized, who have been sexually assaulted, blah, 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 blah. But I don't see any works. I don't see them in real panel. I see them ching, monopolizing, monopolizing on Mr. Kelly's demise. That's what I see. That's exactly what I see. Um, we were discussing about those who have been planted. We talked about your friends are the ones who's closest to you, knows everything about you. Um, we talked about, well, we didn't talk about plants. I got some of you guys gonna dislike what I'm about to say. Um, but this is Sylvia's personal, this is Sylvia's page, Sylvia's point of view of this, Sylvia's understanding from what she has read. And remember, I am a reader. I Everything that I'm saying is based on my research, my understanding, and my dissecting different things. Okay. Now, and I've done a lot of. Prior to this, I did not know anything about Mr. Kelly, other than he made "I Believe I Can Fly." Um, some songs I knew. I have never been what you call a fan. I'm not a fan of anybody. I admire people's gift, but the only fan that I am of is Jesus Christ. That's the fan that I am about. I don't worship, I don't idolize anybody as in the celebrity status, because they are human beings. They are men and women just like us. The only difference between us and them is that they work their craft and they became successful in what they did, their endeavors. Some of us never follow through with our endeavors in life, and that's why some of us are not, you know, in our position. But they worked on their craft. They ate, slept, and breathed their dreams. Like a Kobe Bryant or a Michael Jordan. Those people really worked their dreams. People like me, I'm going to use me. I don't know about y'all. People like me became, what I say, lazy, didn't follow through with their dream, you know, took the easy route, the less resistant route. That's what I took, that's why I'm not where I'm supposed to be. But God also gave me another route and said, hey, you better work this. Well, you don't hide your talent, because I'm going to take that from you. So I decided, hey, Sylvia, you need to follow through, because when you go to that pearly gate, God's going to say, Sylvia, what did you do with what I gave you? Did you hide it? And I'm going to say, no, Lord, here. It took me a little time, but here it is, Lord. Here's my gift. So I believe this channel is what God gave me as my gift. You know what I'm saying? My gift. My gift to you guys, so I can give you my interpretation of certain things, because I think I have some sort of gift. Um, People like me. Whether or not you guys believe it, people like me. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. They like me a little bit. And they take, I'm some sort of an influencer. Not everybody's influenced by what I'm saying, but there's a small portion of people in this world that they believe and they trust me, because I have a pure, open heart. I'm real. I'm real. I'm not fake. I can't be fake. It's hard for me to be fake. You know what I mean? I don't sell no dreams that I'm a millionaire, and this This board right here, do you see? That's a fake house back there. And I only do it because, it's part of the entertainment world. It looks beautiful, but the reality is I have a green screen and I have a blank wall behind here. And I'm in a room, and this is the size of my bedroom, my husband let me have this side of this room, okay? I would show you it for real, but he might get upset with me if I show you that my desk is kind of messy sometimes. You get what I'm saying? So I am real. And because I'm so authentic of who I am, people trust me. So I am working that gift that God has given to me. And I surrendered to Him, even though I am so freaking scared of being in front of people. I can make friends easily. And you are not a stranger. I will talk to you in the street. My daughter and everybody says, Sylvia, why do you talk to everybody? But that's me. Hey, Mason, well, hey, but that's just me. I talk to you. I love people. I really do. So I'm saying all of that to say that even on my late stage of life, I am operating the gift that God has given to me. Robert started working his gift from the time he was a little boy. He knew that he allowed his teacher, Miss McLean, to mold him to where God wanted him to be. That's why he's such a superstar, And a lot of people try to live their dream, Mr. Demetrius, through Mr. Kelly. Okay? Mr. Demetrius felt that since he don't really know how to sing, he think in his mind he knows how to sing, that he was going to live his dream through Mr. Kelly. He felt that Mr. Kelly was his project. This is from the man's word. I can replay the recording if you want me to, but that is what his word was. His word was, this is my project. Why did my sister come and move in on my project? Get what I mean? He felt that Mr. Kelly was his project. That's sick. Let's rewind. Let's go back to Mr. Manager, Mr. Demetrius Smith. Mr. Demetrius Smith is one of the main witnesses, along with Cheryl Mack and the others, for the prosecutors. He's one of the main witnesses. He's the one who went to the grand jury, gave his statement, not only once, but he went to Chicago and then he went to New York. He went to New York twice. Okay. You wonder how I know? Because one of the time when they first approached him, this is when I was trying to do my little detective work, y'all. I was on the phone with him. This is right around July. Around July. He was on the phone and he's like, they were just over here and they subpoenaed me. And I said, subpoenaed you? Why? Why did they subpoena you? He's like, for Rob, saying that because they saw my book. They're going by my book. And I said, yeah, a lot of people is using your book. He says, yeah, you saw that? I said, yeah, a lot of people have been using your book, even the women. He says, yeah, I'm going to sue them. I'm going to sue all of them because this is my book that brought everything about. That's what he said to me, right? He went on to New York. He said he ended up getting an attorney in New York because one of the things is when you go to the feds, you don't know what they're up to. That's what he said to me. So he had to make sure he get an attorney, so just in case, so he don't say the wrong things. And he spoke to them. He didn't tell me what he told them, right? But he, to me, I knew that from my conversations with this man, spoke to him for about a month and a half, from July, the beginning of July. I think it was just right after June 30th. No, I started speaking to him before his birthday because I remember his birthday is in June, around June 27, June 20 something. Because I remember his birthday, and I said, what are you gonna do for his birthday? He didn't know what he was gonna do. That's why I could remember it was June we started talking. So throughout my whole conversation with him, um, he was living, and he even told me he's getting himself prepared for when Robert get out. He's getting his voice together. He's not going to smoke anymore. He's not going to do this so he can get himself prepared. He says, I could sing. So he sang to me on the phone, and I was like, oh, okay, you know how to sing. Which I was not too pleased with the singing at all. So he has this obsession with Mr. Kelly. He wants to be Mr. Kelly. He kind of remind you of an obsessed, a fatal attraction type of person. If I don't have you, nobody else could have you. That's what I saw in him. It was kind of even scary because I asked him, I said, are you in love with Mr. Kelly? He says, yeah, I love him. I said, "You in love with him?" He said, "No, not that way. But I love what he got. I love his skill. What he said, he said it was his music. No, it wasn't music. He said skills, something like that." And I said, "Okay." But every time our conversation, we start talking about one thing, he would always bring it back to Robert. Every time he would bring it back to Robert. He'd bring it back to Robert. So he is very much obsessed with him. Very much obsessed. It was kind of scary. It was very scary because if this man has been around this man this long and he knows the ins and out of Robert, he can be very dangerous to Mr. Kelly. Very, very dangerous. He even told me that he has people right now with around Mr. Kelly that everything that happens, he knows. He knows every move that Robert makes. He knows everything. And I know from reading and from seeing certain things in the documents and things like that. I mean, I'm not talking about the case document, but the YouTube, not YouTube, the newspaper article. The people that have so much obsession with Robert, like Mr. Jim Derrick, I guess the guy that writes the books and writes all the little articles, the one for some strange reason was in contact with Geronda Pace. And it's how convenient it is to have Geronda Pace be in the picture while Mr. Kelly's walking out. How is it conveniently that she is on the picture? And then now she's part of the case. Something that makes you go, that's the weirdest thing. How is it that she, in the Sometime magazine, not magazine, newspaper article, you see her right there. You don't see anybody else. You see her big old head right there walking behind him. And now she's part of the case. Guys, you got to wake up. Gotta wake up. She's not even part of the case in Illinois. She's part of the case in New York, too. That is the weirdest thing. Hey, Heal the Land, please. It is the strangest thing, y'all. Every single body that is in the case have some sort of connection. They act like they're not connected, but they are connected. Let's play Let's play pin the dots. Let's start off with Mr. Barry Hankerson. Mr. Barry Hankerson. He met Mr. Kelly at an audition for a play, and then it turns out he became his manager. This is based on Roller Coaster. Everything I'm saying to you guys, I'm matching it from what I've read. Roller Coaster, Robert talks about how he went to audition for a play that Barry Hankerson was doing, but he couldn't read the play, so he ended up singing a song for him, and that's how he and Mr. Um, Hankerson became in some sort of business agreement. He had gotten rid of his manager at the time, um, but that's supposedly what happened, right? So you have Barry Hankerson, who has a niece, who he introduce his niece to Mr. Kelly to help do music. Mr. Kelly gets a record deal. He managed him. He put him on his label. He has his niece that's on the label. He takes the label. Um, then he has other artists on his label. Then you have Demetrius Smith, who, when he met Robert, he just had gotten out of jail. He was in Juliet prison system for years, and then he was let out. Then he comes and meet up with this young man who has an awesome gift that he feel that this young man had something that he needed. He said Robert had songs. He had the ability to write a song off of anything. That's what he said to me. This is my personal conversation with the man, myself. I'm not going to tell you something that I didn't hear. I spoke to him myself. And he said that he went to the talent show that Robert was doing at the school, and he was recording. That's how he ended up meeting him. But then he claims he was at the train station. I don't believe that, but because Robert was already in the train station before he even knew him. But that's what he claims. And I try to listen, but then I listen to to connect the dots together. So he meets him. Now all of a sudden he's with him with this guy Chuck. Chuck was the manager at the time. Chuck helped Robert go through the MGM was the first group that Robert was with, and Chain Around went with. I'm just paraphrasing the shortest way of giving you the little story. So the MGM won the $1,000 and something happened, blah 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 blah. So not thousand, it was 100,000. I'm not. I don't remember the exact dollar amount. I know it's one something. I think it was 100,000, right? Okay. So then come public announcement. The public announcement group was already a group before, but he needed backup singers because the contract that he had, they didn't want him by himself. They wanted a group. So he had all the songs and everything. So he has this group that's already established, and lo and behold, here come R. Kelly and public announcement. They stayed together for X amount of years. Public announcement still continues as a name, have different members and all that, blah 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 blah. Okay, all right. So now you have Mr. Hankerson, and now Darren McDavid come about, because now Darren McDavid is the accountant, right? Darren McDavid went to school with who? This lady named Susan Logan. This is what my understanding is. This lady named Susan Hogan. And who Susan Hogan is? Logan, not Hogan. Susan Logan is the attorney that everybody was being brought to settle the cases, right? Okay. Then you have supposedly the first person that says that Mr. Kelly did certain things inappropriate, blah, 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 right? Demetrius is the one who tells this young lady to go to this attorney, takes the young lady to this attorney. Then attorney, supposedly they settle out of court. Demetrius says he didn't get no cuts of this money. I asked him, y'all. I asked him, did he get any money out of it? He says, no, they decided to get the money on their own. They did it behind the back. He didn't get anything, which I say is a lie. Okay? It's a lie. All right. Now, he claims Barry don't know anything that's going on. From what I understand, everything happens without Barry knowing. Barry Hankerson, that is. Mr. Hankerson used to give Robert his allowance. Robert never held his money, never dealt with money. The people that was controlling his money was Darryl McDavid and Barry Hankerson. They control Robert Sylvester Kelly's money. They gave him some shady contracts, and they were robbing the man blind. Robert was so happy just to get a couple of dollars to help his mama and his family out. Right? But everybody in the family thought that Robert was making so much money. But he didn't know he had vultures just taking money from him. He didn't know that he had, like, the Barry Hankerson and the Darryl McDavid taking. He didn't know. He didn't have a clue how his money is being spent. All he knows is he got an allowance, and this is what they gave him. Right? Okay. Let's fast forward it a little bit. Robert started getting wise. He started to figure out there are people robbing me. Why I don't have the kind of money I'm supposed to have? So what he started doing, he started firing some folks. He fired Barry Hankerson first. Then he turned around, fired McDavid. But McDavid still hung around. He still hung around. Even though he was fired, he still hung around. And Demetrius was let go several times because Demetrius was constantly doing that petty theft thing. He was stealing money from Robert, right up under him. He wasn't doing the books, but he was stealing computer items, stealing little things, right? So Robert decided to fire him. He fired him the last time, so Robert gave him a $35,000 separation package. And then Robert ended up taking $10,000 back because of the equipment that was stolen, right? Okay. So we get back to Darryl McDavid. Okay, Hankerson is fired. Hankerson is pissed, but he still got people working behind the scene because he's the one hired half of the people. He hired the security people and all that. So Robert started getting wise. He started getting some attorneys who's helping him to get wise enough. But I think it's a little bit too late because some of the contracts that were done behind Robert's back kind of have him tied up, but he don't know how to get himself out of it, okay? So now Darryl McDavid is pissed because now Robert fired him. He can't get his cut, a percentage of what he signed up for. So what he do? He sues Robert. He sues him. And the lawsuit is in the documents. You'll see that. He sues him. So to this day, he feels that Robert still owes him money because of the contracts they set up. Robert didn't draw up any type of contract. They had attorneys that they were working with to draw up contract that benefited them more than Robert. Okay. So you got a lot of pissed off people, guys. You got a lot of angry folks because everybody's eating from this fat goose. And who's that goose? Mr. Robert Sylvester Kelly. He is the fat goose with the talent, He dropped one word, he makes millions off of that word. And they want to get some droppings from that. Then you have him. He has people that he has allegiance to, people that's been around him for years. He has boys that, he made promises to them. And they looking to fulfill the promise. One of the things I hear all the time is that the complaint I hear from a lot of them and from what I've been reading is that he does not pay people. They're mad because they be around him doing all of this stuff and he doesn't give them the cut of what they are worth. So that is one of the problems that they have. They are not getting what they are worth. So, there's your motive, guys. Your motive for all the people who are giving all of this information to the federal government. Because if they had this information from the beginning, you know the Fed's been looking at Robert for a long time, but they couldn't get anything. They couldn't get anything. So he had people in his backyard, inside his house, people that are playing the games. You think they're with him, but they're not. They're not. Because some of them said they have to feed their family. Some of them feel it. How do you think that people like an Azriel or people like Joycelyn or people like what do you call her name? Jocelyn, not Jocelyn. Geronda Pace and Dominique Gardner. How do you think regular people like them are able to get into a person's inner circle like a superstar? Most superstars you can't touch. I don't think any of you guys could touch Beyonce, can you? Can you touch Taylor Swift? Not. What about Kanye West? Can any of you guys get in contact with them? Or what about Michael Jackson's family? Can you guys get in contact with them? Can you? Can you walk up to their house, knock on the door, say, "Hey, I come to see Beyonce. I come to see Chris Brown. Can you let me in?" That's what they did to Robert. How do you think they were able to get so close to Robert? How? Because the people that he put in place. Well, he didn't put them in place. People that hired people that put them in place to do part of the setup. Guys, Robert says, use your common sense. Use your common sense. How do someone at the level of Robert Sylvester Kelly, which I see him as a Michael Jackson level, like a Prince, Beyonce, the Kardashians, those are upper level people. And I'm not saying that, oh God, or anything. I'm not saying that. But regular people are very hard for them to get in contact with unless they know somebody that knows them. Then they could slip you in. But if you're a regular Jane, Joe Blow, or Jane Doe, or whatever, you can't get in contact with these people. You can't. Even when you Google their name, they give you fake phone numbers, fake addresses, and they give you the agents. They give you that kind of stuff. You can't get in contact with them just like that. Their phone numbers, they change it every month. And I'm telling you this from experience, because remember I told you I used to do the Essence every year for about 5 years. I did Essence. I was a talent handler. So I'm telling you stuff from experience. I'm telling you things from experience. Not everybody can get to these people. There's a lot of things you have to sign, some NDAs. There's so much stuff that you have to do for you to be able to get in contact with any of these people. Once I was finished with my job, the phone number I had for a particular artist, boom, they wiped it out. I couldn't go back and say, oh, I got this person's number. If I try to call it, that number has been changed. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's people that are bringing people to these people. People that they trust, thinking that that they're working for me, and I have those guidelines, and for them, 18 and over, he asked them, make sure that whoever's coming towards me, 18 and over. 18 and over. Why is a supposedly Geronda Pace being able to get to Mr. Kelly as she's supposedly 16 or supposedly 15? Why? In your company, You have badges, right? No one else can enter that building. Only you supposed to be able to swipe that badge to get in. Why are you lending your badge to somebody else to get into your company? You should be held responsible. I know if I give my badge to somebody else to lend to the building of my company that I work for, I'm held responsible for allowing somebody who's not me to enter that building. So why isn't it the same thing in this situation here? Why isn't it that those people like a Bubba held responsible for allowing a Geronda Pace to get around Robert Sylvester Kelly? Guys, let's use our common sense. Weird, you said you need my help? You need my help? That's what I'm saying. Guys, let's use our common sense. I'm just giving you our regular layman's things for you guys to understand the situation that Robert Sylvester Kelly is in, okay? You got to keep your mind open. And some people say, oh, he's blank, blank, guilty, blah, 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 blah. I just started a book with you guys a couple of days yesterday of a person who spent 30 years in jail for a crime he did not commit. So anybody's going to come to me with that bull crap that Mr. Kelly is blank, blank, guilty. Were you in the room? And remember, there is always two sides to a story. There's always. And then you're dealing with people who are scoring. Okay, perfect example. I'm going to give you Miss Azriel Clary. Let's talk about her. And I don't care. Y'all in the bushes, you could talk about me, say whatever y'all want to say about Sylvia. That's cool. I'm good. I'm good. My skin is tough now, okay? Let me explain something to you. Okay. As you guys could remember, Miss Clary, when Mr. Kelly first, and this is with my own two eyes here, y'all. My four eyes. I got two glasses, and I can see with glasses on now. Okay. In May, his first court appearance after the federal, no, not federal, sorry, it's his second court appearance after the state charge, right? Miss Clary and Miss Savage were both at the court appearance. I was there. I saw them. They were laid. They were dressed nicely. They were like it. Okay. July, when Mr. Kelly was arrested for the federal charges, I saw them there. They were laid, dressed nicely. I mean, they were to the T. I saw them again in New York around August. Again, they were laid, dressed nicely. They were it. Okay. And this was not around any cameras. They didn't allow cameras where we were at in the courtroom. Only a few people were there. There was a guard standing outside the door. They were standing out there. They spoke to the attorneys. They were talking to Nicole. They stood right there. I didn't see any fear in their heart. I didn't see nervousness. I saw a young lady who was in control. I'm talking about Azriel. She was what you call fierce. That young lady did not seem timid. She was in control, guys. She was in control. This is from my own personal eyeballs, my own personal observation. This is me telling you what I saw, Sylvia. Okay, not what I read, not what somebody's told me. This is what I saw for myself. That young lady did not look to me like she was scared. She did not look like she was nervous. She did not look like somebody held her captive. And I'm gonna tell you my personal experience, right? As you guys know, I work with kids who have been abused, who have been in the system, at risk teens, and so I've had over 20 years of experience working with those type of kids, right? 20 years, and that's no joke, y'all. I've taken classes how to observe, look at body languages and stuff like that, because we have to keep up my license. When I had it, I had to do like 20 hours of training every year. So you have to, look about certain things of what's happening. I even did the sex trafficking certification. I had to, get a training of how to recognize somebody who's being sex trafficked. There's certain things you look for when you are in that field, so you know how to protect, how to detect if somebody's with somebody and see their eyes, the fear, and how they dress, and just things like that. You have to be very observant, right? So, because of my personal background and experience in this field, I look for certain things where other people may not look for it. I had to, pay attention. So I'm observing this young lady who supposedly is a victim. Okay. I had a child in my house who was sexually abused, and she came to my house for about 30 days. And during the 30 days, I had, they told me to do some observation. I had to keep notes of what, how she slept and things like that. So I had to be trained to recognize some of those things. So when I saw her in those different occasions, I put on that hat of the ambassador for sex trafficking hat, right? So I did my observation. She didn't know I was observing her. Nobody knew I was observing. They don't know my background, right? So based on my personal experience, all I can do is give you all my personal experience, and I can give you my certificates of what I've received, for my training. I didn't see that. I didn't see that. And when I had a conversation with Mr. Larry, I said to him, I asked him, why is she not in therapy? He couldn't answer that question. He could not answer that question, because every child that I've had in my home that has been sexually abused go through therapy. That is a requirement. You have to, because that's trauma. You have to deal with the trauma that's occurring. You do it right away. You don't, if a person is who just try to commit suicide, you don't let them just roam around and do what they want to do. You have to keep them in a protective environment, because you don't know what she's doing, because you don't know what they're going to do. So you got to keep them, you have to observe them. You don't take them to a concert with a lot of different people. That's not what you do in therapy. You don't do that. So the crap that they're saying, the game that they're playing, the idea they're trying to sell to you guys, it's not facts. It's manipulation. It's mind manipulation, and you guys are falling for it. You're falling for it. There is a standard that you have to do. There's some rules. Whenever a person has tried to commit suicide, there is a certain amount of time that you have to get them into therapy. And they just don't release you that quickly. As long as I've been dealing with kids with trauma and sexual abuse and things like that, nowhere have I've heard them say, let them do whatever that's helpful, let them draw, write, sing. Nowhere did anybody ever say go take them to a concert. I'm sorry, that's a lie. They ain't gonna tell you take her to a concert. No. Mm-mm. They want you to have close observation with them to make sure that they're okay. Observe them, not take you to a concert, a sexual, explicit music type of concert. Nah, nah, sorry. That's not, I can't, you guys, don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. Don't. That's not what they do. Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. And let me tell you something. She's reading a lot of books and she's learning different terminology. And I watched that interview she did the other day. She's playing with you guys. She's playing that game. She's learning those terminology because if you notice, check a look at her video when she did on YouTube and what she did the other day. Make a comparison. Listen to the language. Look at her body language. That's what you need to do. Pay attention to that. But enough of what I have to say today. We will don't forget on Tuesday I will have an attorney that's gonna be on and she's very raw. Get your questions together, send them to me, and I'll ask her the questions for you guys. She has been an attorney. She has her own law firm for 11 years. She has never lost a case. Just get your questions together. Okay. Teria said, who is Kel's New York lawyer now? That will be revealed once I think by February 17th, when they have court date, then you'll know who the attorney is. I said the same. I was listening how she was talking, trying to fit in. Yeah, Tippy, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. See, but they don't know. My advice for them is to don't say nothing, because let me tell you something. Whatever she's doing now is going to be used against her, and she's really messing up for herself. She's really messing it up. If you notice, all the other ones are quiet because let me tell you, those attorneys going to tear them up. Yeah, she is putting on the front. I would say Azriel is a young lady who was in love, who went in for one thing and ended up getting something else. She was a spoiled brat who fell in love with someone who was treating her like a queen, and now she's bitter. She's bitter, guys. She's bitter. You could say, come on now. You ladies know what it is when you've been in love and all of a sudden you feel that you're being replaced, and how do you act? Some of us act mature, some of us don't, you know. Her cutting up the coat and all this kind of stuff. It's just a small brat acting up. She can't get what she wants, so she's mad. She's been a spoiled brat for a while. Her parents spoiled her. Now, I mean, hey, parents supposed to do that. You're supposed to get spoiled. But not everybody's gonna spoil you. She's a spoiled brat. She wants what she wants when she wants it. She is. Yeah, she's a spoiled brat. And the feds, you guys better do y'all work, you know, because you guys are being very sloppy. Now, how in the world are feds gonna have a superseding 3 times? Superseding 3 times. That means that you guys are just sloppy. Sloppy, and still don't have your thing together. And the only thing that's helping you guys is the law. If her social media presence is remotely like the advocate, then I would be. That makes sense. But her social media shows that she wants money. Exactly, Amber. Exactly. She was using his name to get fame. Yep. Just like his ex-wife. How in the world is you could get married, right? Your first name is Lee at first, right? Your first last name is Lee, which is your maiden last name, right? Then you marry a Kelly, right? Then you divorce the Kelly. Then you marry somebody else. And then you go back to the Kelly and not to your first name? Tell me who's using the name. Okay? All right. Just like that Andrea, man. These people, man, they just milking that man. He's that cow, and they just milking. Still don't have nothing for the judge. Like I let and like let the man out. Yeah. But you know what, y'all? They know how to use the system. They can write it a certain way to keep them in there because there's a law, there's a precedence law already that's involved in it. So they know how to keep it. They know how to keep it. And I'm not going to be here to bash anybody's attorney or anything because I'm not an attorney. I don't know how that's not my field expertise. But I know one thing. When I read that guy's story, the one that spent 30 years in jail, they could do whatever they want when they want to do it and how they want to do it. And it's just us. If we let them get away with it, shame on us. This man spent 30 years in death row for a crime he did not do, guys. A crime he did not do. So if he can go through all that, why do you think R. Kelly is in what he in? Because these people setting it up. They know how to manipulate the system. They know how to keep them in there. And that's what they're doing. They're using us. They're using us. Did a lawyer get released? Yeah, well, he's not. What happened is when Doug is out of New Jersey, right? There was a provisional that they allowed him to be on the case in New York, right? So I don't know if they just removed the provisional or they just can't. I know he's still working with Rob on Rob's case. He's not let go. It's just a provisional. The provisional was submitted back in July 2019. So maybe it was just for a year, and then the following year they released and removed it. But that's what happened. If you guys look at the Pacers report, there was a provisional that allowed him to come in there to work on the case. So it's not as bad as you guys think. It's not as bad as you guys think. It's just a provisional that was set for that case. He came in to do the arraignment. I remember when they did arraignment because I was there at the arraignment. Doug came in then. And if you could remember, Doug was there in Chicago as his entertainment lawyer when they were talking about the Dubai situation. Remember that? So. Does anybody know all those iPads were at that Azriel told the feds about? Okay, let me explain something something to you guys. Okay, from what I have been reading and from listening to different bloggers and reading some things, I try to put some things together in my head. Right. It seems as to me, this is Sylvia speaking. It seems as to me that Azriel was an individual who was the manipulator as far as the other girls, meaning that she was the one in control. I think he trusted her more than anyone else. That's why she was able to get hold of his iPads and things like that. He believed that she loved him as much as he loved her. I don't know about the relationship. I don't know the deal, but I'm just saying that's how she was able to get stuff to the feds. She was able to get the iPads and stuff like that because there was a trust level there. He trusted her. I think he revealed certain things to her as far as his personal inner circle things. When you're in a relationship, you love someone, you just do that. Thank you. Okay, that was my lunch. My lunch is here. My dinner is here. Oh, Jennifer, that was you? Okay, I'll get that stuff over to you. I get that stuff. I didn't know that was you. It was a different name. I didn't know it was you. But Gucci, if you want to come in, let me put the link in, and I'm about to get off because I got to get ready to do my vision board because I'm behind him getting my vision board done because I need to get stuff done for this year. Yeah, exactly, Tippy. It's nothing. They do that. They do that kind of stuff when it was a provision. It was a provisional. And they do that for the case because they had to get an attorney there, and Steve was not a federal attorney, but he's the head attorney of everything. So they needed someone who actually did the federal on the books. At the time, I think I know Thomas was not there when we were there. It was Doug that was there. It was Michael did come. Michael did come to that. I think it was, but Doug did most of the speaking, as I can recall, because they had to do first. There was the arraignment for him, the bond thing, and then the next one was their that's when Ann Donnelly came in, because the first part it was done by this Asian judge, because he did the arraignment. And then the second part, the 1 o'clock hearing, was done by Ann Donnelly, and that's when she set the recommendation. But the arraignment was originally done by that guy. I was there. So, but anyway, guys, I'm about to go because I'm about to eat. This is basically it. I try to keep my lives shorter, try to give as much information as I can, and I will be back. Don't forget, Tuesday, 7 o'clock, I will have the attorney who is going to speak to you guys. We're going to ask questions. She's going to tell you a little bit about herself and things like that. Okay. And, because I'm not an attorney, I don't know the legal jargons and what could be done, what can't be done. I don't know. I'm not an attorney. So, I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Bye.